Okay, wonderful. Time to begin? Yes, I think it's time to begin. Okay, you can all hear me? Wonderful. So my name is Anil Maheshwari. I'm here in US, in Midwest, in Iowa. And I'm a professor here at Maharishi in International University, a very unique university. And we focus on consciousness-based education. At the same time, I'm a professor of technology. I'm a professor. I've written books on data analytics and big data and stuff like that. And those are available from Mcgraw-Hill. So that was my connection with Mcgraw-Hill, which brought us together. And on the top, you can see three logos. Of course, you recognize Mcgraw-Hill. Then you recognize in the right, this is the logo of your own university, Abdul Kalam Saab University, and I'll refer to him. See the beautiful deep in the middle. I think that's a basic technology, the kindling the heart, right? That's what it says. Education is all about kindling the heart of the student. And I'm here on a very sunny morning. I had to pull up the shades because the sun is very bright. I would actually argue that sun is the ultimate technology of learning. If we can leverage the sun in the most effective way or ways, then education would be complete. And then in the middle, you see our university's logo, which is the idea of the tree of knowledge, that we grow knowledge. And then you see the roots there. And one way to see it is that water the root and enjoy the fruit, right? To enjoy the fruit, you don't water the leaves, you don't water the branches, you don't water the trunk, you don't water the flowers. What you water is the root. And what is the root of life? Root of life is that infinite consciousness, our chetana, who we are. We are beyond our mind and body. We are that awareness that knows that we have mind and we have body and we have friends like all of you joining here, and we are part of the whole universe. That is who we are. And rekindling that awareness within us would be the best homage we can pay to Abdul Kalam Saab, who is a great hero, great technologist. So it's only wonderful that your university is named after Kalam Saab, and so we can begin now with how we want to sort of become great ourselves. And in fact, let me just move to the next chart. What do you see in this picture? What do you see in this picture? On the left, of course, there's some words, but on the right, you see a young person, right? And you see these balloons, and you see this open space. That's the purpose of life. She is wandering. She is flying. She sees unboundedness. And that's what one should become, or one wants to become in life, isn't it? Who wants boundaries? Who wants limitations? Who wants old stuff, regurgitation? Everybody wants to be themselves, express themselves. It is naturally within us to express ourselves. And universities are great places to become, to grow and to become aware of our unique nature so we can live that unbounded life. So this visual, although it was put together by a great artist in Mcgraw-Hill, I thought it was a fantastic choice of a person living a life of joy, that you can feel that joy. So I would like you all to live blissfully, and your teachers or the teachers who are listening, teach for bliss. Ultimately, what do we want our children to do? What do we want for our children at home? And what do we want for our children at university, at school, at colleges? We want them to be happy. So first, we should look at understanding what makes us happy. What is the technology of happiness? And that's kind of the idea of learning to meditate, learning to understand ourselves. Those are the big things. So that I call the technology of the interior. I know the whole idea here is leveraging technology in education, and technology just means that anything that is framed, how we structure it, and you can structure the technology interior, we can structure the technology exterior. Of course, we're using this fantastic technology exterior to be able to communicate globally in. Okay. So let me move on to the chart. Okay. So this is a little bit about myself, and you can see my picture a little bit better here. So I had the privilege of, I grew up in Delhi. So, very much, I think your university is in Lucknow, so not very far. I went to IIT Delhi, did electrical engineering there, and then I had the privilege of going to IIM Ahmedabad. And then that was a long time ago. And then I worked with Wipro Infotech. That was my first job. And then became manager at Computer Point and started a small company called High Tech Consultants in Delhi. Then I went over to the US and then studied a PhD at Management Information Systems at the intersection of computer science and management. And after doing PhD, I worked for City University of New York. I worked for University of Cincinnati. For 4 years, I worked for universities, and I went back to industry. I went to a telecom company, telecom software company, which was set up by ex-Bell Labs people, ex-IITians, ex-Bell Lab people. Then I moved to Texas, Austin, and I worked for this company called IBM for 9 years in the US. And this is global marketing leadership. And then I left them to become senior VP at another company. Okay. So then of course, during those periods, I thought, well, how do I grow? So, like many of you, I was very focused on studies, not very outdoor person. My biggest hobby was walking until I became friends with somebody who had climbed Mount Everest, and that to Mount Everest with one arm. Mr. Gary Guller became a great friend, and we were walking. And I said, Gary, I want to become an outdoors person. So he said, let's run a marathon. And then just we signed up for 6 months of training. I ran a full 26.2 mile marathon or 42-kilometer marathon. So that was another amazing thing that you discover that you can do anything. And, there are technologies and the people and community who know how to train you. So this is the thing that when we want to do something and we have a desire to achieve something, there are a lot of resources around ourselves. So I'm talking to students here that if you have the dreams high, do not think they cannot be achieved. Dreaming is the first thing. That's what Kalam Saab said, right? First you have to dream, and then, of course, they can become reality. So dream really, really big things. And you see the picture of this thing, big data. Big data is another metaphor that all the data in the world is available to you. The question is not whether the data is there. The question is, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to add value from it to the society? And the more value you add, the more value will come back to you. That's our Vedic philosophy. The more you give, more comes back. Vasudeva Kutumbakam. Anyway, then last 8 years, I've been working at this university, Blissful University, and this is a great university, very unique university focused on consciousness-based education, that developing the self is the first prerequisite of living a happy, blissful life so we can achieve all the things in life. Of course, we teach computer science, of course, I teach technology, strategic management in the business school, technology school, computer science. We have the second largest graduate master's program in computer science at our university. So any of you wants to come for masters, we get we graduate about 400 or 500 master's students in computer science every year. I know it sounds funny, Maharshi name, but Maharshi was a great scholar of Vedas, great scientist of Vedas. And we have faculty with all from Ivy League universities, PhDs from Princeton to Harvard to Stanford to UCLA, Berkeley, everywhere. We are here because we believe in developing the self before we think of making money or doing all the things that are important for the body and the mind. But most important thing is first what we do for the soul. And then I've been while being here, I've been blogging. You can check out my blog, anilmaha.com. The title of the thing is Blissful Living. So you will see some, I think, beautiful writing there. And then, of course, I've written these beautiful books that have become #1 globally. And I hope you will be enjoying those books in your learning and teaching program. What do I want to share today? First thing is, what is the goal of education? When we say leverage technology in education, what is education? What should the education be? And we will go straight from what our guru said, and then we'll talk of what are the new models of education emerging. ultimately, and then we will see, some new technologies are emerging, more interior and exterior, but we'll focus here. Some of the technologies from the external, and these will not be a surprise to you. I'm older than most of you industry specialist students, so you are more up to date on technologies, and you would be working on these technologies to deliver services, whether it's healthcare or more education or more information or more food to people. And then I will just end with some teaching and learning take tips for in a COVID world, post-COVID world, because we are kind of in lockdown. In the U.S. today, 1st of May, is a day when the lockdown is kind of ending. Was supposed to go until April 30th, and some states will begin to open up, and there's obviously a big debate on how much to open safety versus life. But we will see. So we will see how we can make the most of it. Now, I mean, every crisis is an opportunity to do something different. Things are not fixed. Things are not fixed. Things are always growing, and best part is to be part of the growth, part of making the things better. Moving forward, let's go to the master. Let's go to the master. If you want to shine like sun, first you have to burn like it. Okay, this is one of the quotes that, and I gave a talk to National Teachers Congress. You can look up Anil Maheshwari, National Teachers Congress. It will come up. It's a beautiful 15-minute talk. That's the one talk of mine that I like. And in that, I quote this one thing, a Vedic scholar who said, you can be Sukharthi or you can be a Vidyarthi. Sukharthi cannot be Vidyarthi. Vidyarthi cannot be Sukharthi. If you're looking for easy way of life, then you can't be a student.
So this Manoj has been constantly
right? You can be a lot of things. You can be rich. You can be many things. But if you want to be a true student, you don't look for sukh. But if you want vidya, then you don't get sukh too much. Of course, at the end of the vidya, you will be more enlightened and more joyful. But at that point, when you're vidyarthi, then you don't be sukharthi. So it's all about being like the sun. And why is sun important? And our namaste, namaskaram to Kalam Saab. You know the story of how he invented the whole technology for the missile. There was a particular stage of the missile that they needed to get from, I think, US or whatever. And they said, well, it'll take about $20 million to get that little technology. And he said, oh, that's the whole budget for our whole program. How can we pay for just this little part? And they went on to invent the whole part, and they worked day and night to make it happen. So that was a crisis for them, but they had commitment to make the missile launch successfully. And he's the missile man. He made it happen on a shoestring budget. So no resources can get in the way of determination. I have done some research with my own students and data analytics projects, right? And I think that having the right data and the right models would be key to being able to do the right projects and achieve something. But by far, I found people have said perseverance and encouragement. Those are really the key elements in becoming successful in projects. So to the teachers, I mean, I'm sure you encourage your students, encourage them some even more. And most importantly for students, you need to persevere. Have faith in the teachers that they have your interests at heart, and then you do something of interest to you. When you're doing a project of interest to you, then your heart will take you forward. You will not say, Professor, is that enough? Is that what you expected of me? That is sort of just doing for the sake of degree or for the course or the marks, etc. I mean, there's a great requirement there. It's competitive world, and India is very competitive, and there is a definite value to that. But most importantly, you need to understand that how are things, you're going to grow. So there's some beautiful questions that are shining up on the screen, but I will take them maybe a little bit after I present so that we don't interrupt the flow for
तो हमारे
everybody.
पास around
And I know some people will want to leave early.
11,060
Now
के
here is
करीब
Maharishi, and
registrations है,
Maharishi's,
जिसमें से
again,
सभी को join now
Guru
link
Brahma, Guru
जितने भी लोगों ने
Vishnu, Guru
form
Deva
fill किया है उन्हें
Maheshwara, Guru
registration confirmation और join now दोनों चला गया है।
Shri
17-18
Gurve
लोग
Namah.
block list
So
में
we
थे
just
बिल्कुल जिनको नहीं जा पा रहा था,
we just
तो
go
उनके
to
लिए ताकि अगर
Guru,
ऐसे
and
कोई
then
exception हो, जैसे
he is
मनोज
the
की अपनी
one
आईडी
who
शायद block
brings
list में
the
थी,
knowledge
तो
of
उनके
the
लिए मैंने link
infinity
दे दिया,
to
शालिनी
us.
को भी मैंने वही
And he
link
said
दिया।
the purpose of life is
असल में मैंने
expansion of happiness, right?
नो
Expanding happiness. It doesn't say expanding my happiness, making myself happy.
जी
Expansion of happiness. And happiness has a
हाँ
reflexive
जी हाँ जी
quality that when you expand happiness, nature makes you happy. So it's the idea that you don't worry about
ये
your
क्या था तो
happiness, the
exception था और
nature will
उनको
make
मैंने
you
साथ के
happy
साथ
if
एड्रेस
you
मैसेज पे
just
कर दिया।
contribute. So contribution is important. Do your bit, and then the universe will take care of you. I know it sounds like, why shouldn't I take care of myself? But trust me, this is, this is wisdom that somehow has gotten lost or distorted. That let's take care of me. We just get driven by fear. Um, so we get driven by fear. So the important thing is to focus directly on happiness. We think we will learn this, then I'll get a job, then I get money, then I get married, then I get a house, then I have kids, and then I'll be happy. No, then you'll have other challenges. Trust me, we think life is tough as a student. Well, when you start working, it'll be tougher. And when you have family and work, then it'll be tougher. And then, and then you get older, then it'll get tougher in different ways. But it will all be challenges in different ways. So learn to be happy here and now. I've written actually a book called Moksha based on my own sort of enlightenment experience. And you can look it up. It's available on Amazon, Moksha, Moksha, right? So there are only just a few books, couple of books on Moksha. So that is the idea. First, focus on yourself, right? You're here to be happy. And then, of course, all the material things you can gather. Society will give it to you. Community will give it to you. The world will give it to you. Then when you come back. So don't be afraid of taking the next step, the extra step. So again, now just to getting more to the points of what I want to share. What is the purpose of education, right? We said purpose of life is expansion of happiness. But why are you in school? Why are you spending all this time? Why are you spending all this money, effort, energy? Many things. At the highest level, it's awareness of the self. Highest awareness, broadest awareness of self. We as Brahman, we as the totality, we as like Vivekananda said, the non-dual Paramatma, Atma. That Atma means Atma. A means infinity. Ma means the point value. We are the infinity, collapsing on the point value, which looks like us. But what is speaking to us is the infinite consciousness. So be aware of the self and the universe, and have the creative imagination of being one with the universe, and say, what does the universe want? What do I want to give the universe? Not the small I, but the big I, which says, okay, I'm the universe. What can I be? So live in that, be in that unbounded universe, be the unbounded universe. Think from that perspective, feel from that perspective. The second thing you see here is grow in emotional and self-discipline, right? What is the idea? Which means that begin to nurture your feelings. Don't hurt other people's feelings, first of all, ahimsa, but also just make sure you are yourself very healthy emotionally and become self-disciplined. That's the idea of grit, resilience. Being self-disciplined people is very important, especially in today's world where there's a lot happening at the surface level, but at the underlying level, it's all oneness. So if you go and sort of are aware of a oneness, which is the point number one, then it's very easy to just watch and be witness to all the confusion, chaos happening out there, participating a little bit in the activity, but not getting too sidetracked by all these side eddy currents happening here. Third, here on the left bottom, of course, you need to at the level of mind. The first was the level of soul. Second, I would say at the level of heart. Third was at the level of mind. You need to, of course, intellectual mind. You need to get knowledge, improve your knowledge, get your skills, do projects, and learn the concepts. And there are concepts of education. That's what they get. Somebody just said, how can I understand the self? That's through meditation and through transcendence. That is one question I can't resist answering. But certainly you want to get the practical skills, right? And why do you need that? That's the fourth, right? Live happily, blissfully, in harmony with the world. So be friendly, be compassionate. We learn to how the society is, and society doesn't have to be sort of operating from artificial rules. सच्चाई छिप नहीं सकती कभी कागज के फूलों से खुशबू आ नहीं सकती कभी कागज के फूलों से. What is that? बनावट के असूलों से. So बनावट के असूल means like the artificial law, the man-made law, unless it's alignment with natural law, will not lead to sustained growth. And we will operate from nature with alignment with nature. And nature created us. Nature will keep us happy. We just stay constantly connected with nature. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes to connect with nature. Whatever guru you have. Whatever books you like. Whatever. But just learn to be with sattvic people. Learn to be with good people. And then that will develop you. And trust me that at the end of the life, you will feel extremely happy that you learned to live, get along. It takes all kinds of people to exist in the world. It's not very easy to get along with many kind of people. And in the current world, we're learning to live with people because everybody's home, isn't it? So we just,
1170 के अराउंड टोटल जा रहे थे
yes, all
एंड
objectives is
18
not
उनमें
gold.
से
So we just
ब्लॉक थे जिन्हें
learn
बीच
to
को
be
नहीं
also
किया
be
होगा
the gold
वही देख
ourselves.
के मैंने नोट्स
Be the
किए
gold
और
ourselves.
दोनों को
Maharishi
लिंक
said
किया था
actually, Maharishi said what we need for life is just four things. Four things: sun,
हाँ
air,
जी
water, and food. Sun, air, water, and food. First and most important thing is sun. And what are we doing to sun? We have all this pollution, so we can't even see the sun. Assuming these days it's beautiful that we can see the sun, what are we doing with the sun? Well, our houses are oriented so that the sun doesn't even come to our house. Let's put on all the shields with SPF because it's all coming from certain parts of the world where they want to see that stuff. And by the way, they're keeping you away from the sun. Well, sun can be very, very harsh in North India. So we need to find ways to sort of partake in the sun, but in a safe manner. Sun ultraviolet can get high, but we need the sun. Sun is the source of all food. All our food here starts 93 million miles away, 9 crore 30 lakh miles away. All the energy is only coming from the sun. That grows the food, but that grows us directly. It is possible to live on sun alone. Many, many people who have proven that. I'm not saying you try that, but if you want to live on sun energy alone, you can directly absorb sun through the eyes, through the body. Sun is very important. And then, of course, you need air, fresh air, then you need fresh water, and then fresh food. We focus a lot on how will we get food on the table? How will I get food on our plate? How will I get my next meal? Hey, how are we going to get doses of sun? How are we going to get this fresh air? So let's focus on first things first. Why do we focus on food? Because there are a lot of people, vested interests, who want to focus on just earning food, money for food. Yes, we need money that food in the tummy. But think of if you don't have air in the lungs, forget about it. You don't even care about food at that point in time. And if the sun was to vanish, we're all going to vanish in a moment, right? So just be very cognizant of the sun as the premier technology of, or the source of all energy and all technology. So what is the goals for teaching? Again, I'm talking to teachers here. Teachers, please, you are all very learned people. I'm so delighted to be with you. I would say humbly submit some things here, just four simple principles. Actually, essentially one principle. The first one, teach wholeness. As I say, well, if you want to cook, to teach somebody, how to build a machine, show them how the machine's overall things work. Individual pieces, individual carburetor, individual, let's say, electronic device. You can learn a lot of the specifics through YouTube and other books and videos. How a teacher, we as a guru, help and make a difference is by giving them that sort of wisdom, that appreciation for the wholeness. To give an example of a meal, right? Meal is also a kind of technology of food, and as I said, the four things: sun, air, water, and food. So please remember that. If I were a master chef, I will teach kids how to prepare a whole meal, not an individual dish. You know how to make a tomato soup, or you can make butter paneer. All of these details are available on YouTube. What is important as a teacher is what to put together, what goes with what, and what will go back with what kind of guests. So all of those are important. So give them something bigger than individual part. The mind really enjoys wholeness of totality of So we don't feel like we're a part. Purna Mada Purna Midam Purna Mada Purna Viduchate Purna Me Vaya Purna Me Viduchate. What is that? From wholeness. And from wholeness, when we give out wholeness, it doesn't, we don't become any less. And students can pass on the wholeness, and wholeness is blissful. So I would operate from wholeness, and students will naturally enjoy. And when they're feeling whole, they will feel so blissful. They will want to come to class, and they will want to share their knowledge. They will want to work in groups. That's the main thing. So second part is teach for bliss and joy. Again, I said earlier, happiness is to me the biggest thing. Teach for creativity. Rote learning is passive. Google can give you all the specific answers. Machine learning is able to do a lot of the regular analytical learning. Teach for creativity. Everybody has a unique personality, unique perspective in life, and we want to appreciate that person's perspective. How are we doing time? So we just, okay, it's 25 minutes. I should finish in 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll take questions. So this is to teach more creativity, enable the student to be themselves, encourage themselves. It's hard work if you have 40, 50, 100 students. It's easier done in smaller groups, but find students who will mentor other students. Trust me, they can just stand up and they can enjoy. These students can grow up very rapidly to be very responsible adults in class or outside when they are trusted to be it. And again, the fourth thing I would say, teach for the future. You all know that. Future is going to, the only part is future is going to be not the same as today. Future is not going to be just faster, it'll be very disruptive. Of course, the COVID came as like a black swan, nobody expected. And who's to tell that there'll be no more black swans, right? All swans are white till you find a black swan. And same way things are normal, things will go like this, except when it doesn't happen. So teach for uncertainty. Life is inherently uncertain. At the surface level, life has to be uncertain. Right? There's a lot of dynamism, but deep inside is a silence. If you learn to tap into the silence, everybody should learn meditation. I think meditation, even all the tech gurus, I'm a member of many organizations here, and even the people who are doing the most disruptive work or leading the disruptive entrepreneurs, they're saying, learn to meditate. Among their top 3 tips is first thing is learn to meditate. Because 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 hour, whatever it takes. I do very long meditation programs, at least hour in the morning, hour in the evening, and then I do transcendental meditation taught by Maheshwari. But you can choose your own thing. Ideas are weaker, that there's surface level technology and at the bottom where it's all silence. Learn to live in that consciousness, the powerful, all-pervading consciousness, which is a unified field of all the laws of every idea that comes to you from that unified field will naturally be supported by nature for its fructification. So when you can settle down in there, so buy a vacation home in that unified, I feel like, everybody should spend some time on vacation instead of going out to, wherever you go out or wherever. Why not go to the unified field within? And then 20 minutes, just enjoy that, or 1 hour, just enjoy that. Do as often as you go for vacation, and you will come out very settled and blissful. So future, teach for a new normal, teach for a more disruptive at surface level, but more blissful world. I think it will be a much better, more blissful world. Nature of work is changing. There was a big book called The Work of Nations, which said there are essentially 3 kinds of work, which you see in the first top 3. Human-machine interface work, which is people working with lathe machine, people working with construction equipment, even working with computer, etc. But not less so much computer. But the second, the human-to-human interface work, which is like where people working, delivering services, maybe in the shop, maybe in the various places of social services. And then there's professionals or creative people who work with abstract ideas, creative ideas. And they said essentially about 8 to 20% of the work is abstract ideas work. And then, large part is machine work. You can even working with agriculture would be probably part of machine or human land work, I guess, in Indian context. But human-to-human work is sort of the service work. So everybody wants to put abstract ideas work, but it can be bliss and happiness could be in any other kinds of work. Now, of course, new work types of work are coming, robotic work, robots are taking a lot kind of work, machine learning kind of based work, right? So you just give a command and then thing gets delivered to you all these voice-based devices becoming or services becoming available. But I think this will be a big one. Staying healthy is the biggest thing, and it's particularly relevant in this COVID world. Educational work, helping everybody grow. So I'm part of, in that sense, part of helping the world better. Emotional work. There's a lot of emotional quotient that people need to develop. We have so much focused on the intellect. Remember, I showed you four goals of the purpose of education. Third one is education, but we need to start straight from the soul to the heart to the mind and to the body and sort of everybody else. So let's just work with our must be aware of our own emotions and then be able to work with others in a happy and seamless manner. Okay. That's a lot, and I know there are a lot of questions. I want to just quickly cover something. Now we're getting into the leaf level. I've already covered the basic ideas I wanted to cover. These are some ideas of tertiary education. Of course, we have the traditional university degree, and Abdul Kalam University is a great university for technology degrees. You can have the Gurukul program. There are companies now giving out apprenticeship. You can be a 12th grader and just join there, and you pretty much spend 10, 20 years of your life learning while you're earning. And then you learn at work. When you get to a company, some companies will give you corporate training for focused job. It's also kind of tertiary education, massively open online courses. I think Indians are the number one at taking advantage of these courses from Coursera, edX, and Udemy and others. So definitely, by all means, educate yourself. Online degrees are coming up with short residency, sort of a hybrid model. So especially for working professionals who may not be able to take that much time off, so weekends, residency, etc. Correspondence courses, open universities. We have seen IGNU. Some of them are older ones. A lot of education is happening at conferences and seminars. There's specialized education on big data, on data analytics, on this and that, to ACM conferences, Academy of Management. There are a lot of pre-conference tutorials, post-conference tutorials. Just listening to other people doing research can be very, very educational. Health people, the doctors have to have the continuing education program credits. Somebody, I think I saw a comment, do you get a certificate for participating in this seminar? I think you should get. You're taking the time to, learn all these things, and I think you should get a credit, but I'll leave it to the university and the sponsor. Lifelong learning of the self-universe. Again, going back to the original goal, learning, becoming better. So all of these elements are a step in the movement towards lifelong learning. It's no longer sort of you just learn and do a college degree and then you do the same job for 40 years and you retire and get a gold watch and then you die. No, you can be learning all the time, and you have to be learning all the time. I've seen some people do PhD and then continue to do master's degree. Some people do multiple PhDs. I know some of you will end up doing PhD students. So just why not? Just keep doing. In terms of technologies, leveraging educational technologies is just like there's these terms come up. There's fintech, there's edtech, there's health tech, and all those things. Edtech is as the first line. Beyond courses and periods and classrooms and blackboards and teachers and books and examination and degree. That's what the basic technology is. A degree is a technology, is a piece of paper or piece of certification and in some database that your name is there, that you achieve that master's or bachelor's degree or PhD degree or something. School should be carnival. Now that's a phrase I just saw in some video which was very highly liked, and I said, school should be like carnival. Everybody makes something and then pitches it. And learning is happening anywhere, everywhere. Watching others, enjoying with others, and learning just slides in. Manjul, what is the Manjul? But Manjul Bhatnagar, who was a guy who became the Field Medal Award winner in mathematics, like the Nobel Prize of he's in only his 40s. He said famously that I hated math in school. I learned mostly math when I went to my grandfather's home during the summer, who told me stories, right? And who told me stories, and then somehow the math came in. They said all the stories of Vedas and our scriptures had some mathematical component to it. He said, I fell in love with math at that point in time. And he went on to win equivalent to Nobel Prize at a very young age. And that's the point, that you just want to be learning everywhere and not just become learning as sort of a focus activity inside a classroom. So learning should happen outside the classroom. I think it's fantastic. During COVID, we have had to open up to many ways of learning, through videos, through creating all these videos, and coordinating through various online technologies. One big thing I'm hearing is this virtual reality systems, right? People are playing through video games. Games are being played, given on iPad, so kids can play. Especially, I've seen that in New York schools. My nephews are given like an iPad kind of thing, and then which is loaded with software, and the teacher can get the results back. It's not exactly virtual reality system, but certainly some kind of a system where so all of that work is happening online. It gives a lot of benefit to the teachers, and students enjoy, because then an electronic thing can make it dynamic, little cartoons here there, and give them like a good job star and whatever else. Electronic whiteboards and design boards, I love these. I don't use it nearly as much, but I'm quite a fan of having these whiteboards. And these electronic whiteboards, when people can share and you can doodle on that whiteboard yourself. Uh, you can learn through smart devices, your phones and iPads and your tablets, but also wearable devices. You wear on your wrist. You can wear on, now this wearable computing is coming. You can have a jacket, flexible screens, etc. You're wearing glasses, so all the sensors are getting. People are even getting electrodes installed at the back. So somebody who is I heard this whole idea of somebody had sort of colorblind. So they inserted a third electrode kind of in the back of that person's head, and that was a camera, right, which is feeding that signal straight into the head, into the brain, and that was actually being able to give that person infrared view of the thing. So actually, this person is able to see a lot more than what a normal eyes see, because we see only the visual range. But when you can see from the infrared and other whole frequency spectrum range, it actually becomes a much more enabler and enhancer. So what can become disability, and when you start the solution can actually take you much farther than the normal. Certainly, online learning management systems are there, and Mcgraw-Hill has one. Every organization is creating learning management systems. And there are the sort of learning management systems like Blackboard and Moodle and others. But then there's also these commercial organizations like Mcgraw-Hill and Pearson have their own learning management systems, where they make all these materials available to you in a fairly friendly way to track how you are doing, how your students are doing. Another big one is this brain-computer interface. This is only coming up, which is kind of the thing what I was telling you about. What do you call it? I forget the name about it, but it's saying that to be able to directly answer technology and not be limited to your fingers and just the eyes, because eyes can only read so much. Ears can hear only so much. You can have a lot of information fed in directly. Simulation and laboratories, especially when you're locked down in online, how can you do many things digitally? What they're saying is that one of the big things, most expensive and more profitable thing in the world is creating new drugs for new ailments. And earlier used to be the vet bio. You take a test, you put something, put reagent, and you do 20 conditions and see which condition works. Here now you can simulate the impact of a new molecule on the entire genome, have a digital version of genome, insert this thing, and they're saying what clinical trials, what it takes, usually takes like 3 years to do. You could do a whole clinical trial in a day. Whole clinical trial in a day. And instead of working with just 1,000 patients in clinical trial, you can work on 1 million genomes and then see how effective that molecule will be. So those were the kind of digital simulations that they're at work, but in 5-10 years, it will come back straight to individual people. Okay. Now, in this few things for the COVID world, I would say it is a very different world, right? So every time you go in class, first you do a checking question. I do that. I say, how are you feeling? They say, well, this is what is happening in the world. I say, no, I'm not interested in what you see in the world. I'm saying, well, how are you feeling? Well, sir, I'm feeling a little bit uneasy, stressed, a little bit headache, this and that. Okay. Let's acknowledge that, appreciate that. Feelings are what they are. They are not good, they are not bad. They are just what we are, what they are. A little bit more frayed feelings because of the uncertainty of this and the whole COVID world, uncertainty in terms of how we will come out and all the things.
Okay.
If you're teaching online like here, keep the cameras on. It increases engagement. Earlier, when I used to teach online classes, I did not do that, but now all the best practices coming from the top institutions is that putting cameras on is important. It helps to see the student stays engaged, and then take frequent breaks. For in general in class you would probably give breaks, but online, because just looking at the screen can be very tiring and can be bad on the eyes also. So just give frequent breaks. I don't even call them bio breaks, but I call them Facebook breaks, or Twitter breaks, because people need to see what's going on in the world. So that's just the nature of the world we are. Uh, Also, because you can see a lot of pictures of all the people, and it's called people after participation. Right? It becomes important to people sort of to equalize the participation in this world, because some people may be feeling down, or may not feel feel like sharing. And everybody has something to share. So make sure everybody has a chance to participate and share. At the bottom line, there's some interesting things like, as I said, use online teaching materials. There's a lot of universities that offering a lot of material. Wiley, Mcgraw-Hill, but Wiley, and some of them were saying Harvard Business School Publishing. They were saying MIT is offering a lot of materials for free. Here are some materials are making all our course materials available to universities around. Part of it is helping, but part of it is they want to be the established leader in the post-COVID world of how to teach in mostly online kind of world. This thing came, become members of ACM. If you're technology world, computing technology, then of course become associate members of ACM. Yesterday there was a seminar by this lady was, professor of data science at Columbia University in New York, and she had worked as vice president of Microsoft before that, etc. And she showed how data science is changing the world and helping us to test things, so we don't have to start with strong assumptions. And her point was, weaken your assumptions. Weaken your assumptions about anything, about the other person, about the technology, about what can happen. Anything can happen. We come with very strong assumptions as we grow up. Weaken your assumptions. I love that phrase. So I would like to share that with you as one of the lessons moving forward. Weaken your assumptions about everything. Make use of community support, as I said, and adapt to the emerging normal. The new normal will be different. Help create the new normal. So I think this is my last slide, but I wanted to share that Mcgraw-Hill's Connect platform is a nice place. One of my students actually worked at Mcgraw-Hill Seattle to help develop this whole Connect platform, and it's very connected. I think it works also on all kinds of mobile devices. Very adaptive, and all the teaching work and grading work, etc., really automatically, and it's got all these features for learning management solutions, and it works with the variety of your LMS like
Has been delivered to 1140.
Interesting thing, all your ebooks, etc., are available offline. There's a lot of resources, a lot of teaching materials available for teachers. I have been invited to evaluate some of these, not this company, but some other, when I go to conferences, and they want to know how to make it very friendly for the faculty to track. You heard of Khan Academy, how do we do the flip the classroom? So student does the learning and reading everything in the at home using these online tools, and comes to class with Q&A for Q&As. Just where we do more interactive work. So here in this LMS learning systems, you can see which student is struggling with which question. And then you can, as a professor, as a teacher, instructor, you can focus more on those questions where students are struggling. And some students are easy, some questions are easy.
Sorry?
This is the last slide, and I've had this book has come out in second edition. The data analytics book will also come out in second edition, I think, next year, early next year. But please feel free to reach out to Mcgraw-Hill for that. So thank you very much, and let me take questions. Maybe Prakriti, if you want to summarize some questions for me, since you're probably following the chat, what is the most important question? I'm going to open the chat and see. There's a lot of questions here. Okay. Yeah, I think the video will be made available to you, and this is great.
Yeah, I think so.
Now,
Somebody is asking you how primary education is in USA is different from India. Uh,
yeah, okay. So, how is primary education different in India? Like my when the younger daughter was born here, and it's actually very different, very different from K to five, till fifth, 5th grade, including the primary school till 5th grade. They don't insert too much math and rote learning at all. They give you crayons and they give you paper and they give you cutting tools. Just play with it. So at the end of the, I guess, 5th grade, students become very comfortable with the saying. They're making up their mind. I like this. I don't like this. They know how to deal with other person. They get very good about expressing their feelings, sharing feelings, acknowledging other people's feelings. So it's very much at the level of, I would say, feeling level. And they do learn some stuff, but it's less. And in India, my older one grew up in India. At 2.5 years, I had to put her into preparatory school to be able to go to top school. Just start of rote learning. So it's very different focus, developing a more person here. I think that's what leads to a lot of the innovation here. The students from early on age are taught to respect their own uniqueness, their own understanding of the world and what they want to do as valuable, not just looking for approval from parents or teachers.
Great. So we have one more question: how the university will contribute to overcome internet issues in rural areas?
Our university will, okay, overcome. University, more than universities, I think, in terms of providing internet connectivity or in terms of resources or teaching materials. University's role is actually more of the providing the teaching materials, but I guess the last mile is also part of university's responsibility to make sure the content reaches out to the people. So university should tie up with partners, right? Partners of provider of connectivity and other tools who can then make it available. So, but traditionally, universities are more about what is the notion of university actually? The universe. It's about learning about the universe, becoming the universe itself. So connectivity, and I think that university should be a great resource for the rural areas, and the rural areas should. How would we when you're talking specific internet connectivity, I would say broaden that universities have a great role to develop all of the country, including the rural areas. And interconnectivity is something which I'll tell you another one. There is a hole in the wall experiment, if you've heard of that, by Subroto Bhattacharya, I think, right? You can look, Google hole in the wall. He found that kids, when given a laptop or iPad with this stuff loaded in it, they can play with it on their own and learn. And there was an X prize of learning for the remotest place, and then X prize, this whole like a global challenge kind of thing. And they found software which can be loaded on an iPhone or like let's say a Android phone or any phone or a tablet, and given to people in the remotest areas and in their own language, and then they can play with it and they can learn on their own. And the finding was that 1 hour of playing with the device was leading to more learning than spending a whole day, 4 or 5 hours in the classroom, which is fantastic. I'm told this all the software that was there on that has been put on GitHub, which is the repository for all this open source software. And you can just download that software about anytime, anywhere learning, and this free software available. And the other thing was this is such a software that you can it can come. They're working with Google to preload it on every phone, and then once you discard your old phone, that can be donated for it to go to these rural areas where kids can just work with it and just discard everything else and just work with that app and learn everything in the world. So it is
Uh,
actually many solutions to even bypassing if the connectivity doesn't happen. Of course, Elon Musk of Tesla, SpaceX, and Facebook, they're all trying to create alternate infrastructure for their own commercial reasons. So I think infrastructure that many people focused on providing the internet connectivity for the next billion or 2 billion people. I think that will happen over a period of time, anyways. So university should be ready to deliver in a very simple manner the wholeness of knowledge and rely on the ingenuity of the kids in the rural areas to find things of relevance to them.
Great. So we have one more from Mr. Aditya Tiwari. He says, what exactly we can expect from data science technologies when it comes to implementing on human health consciousness?
Human health consciousness. So data science and the consciousness. This is the kind of thing that I'm trying to merge and write some things on it. So consciousness, data science can teach us a lot more about our own metrics. So one thing is data science is working with data. What data do we trust? Right, the trustworthy data is our own data. So if we record our sleeping times in the day or what we eat in the day, and we can develop some trends from that, we can measure our own habits. What do I tend to do? Something can be automatically recorded, and in that sense I feel like the wearable devices, although they share the data with all the other people, maybe we can turn that off if we don't feel like sharing our data, but at least have it in an offline mode that it records the data, and then if you download onto our PC, and then be aware of what we are doing, become aware of our habits, record the meditation times that we do, see the regularity in our patterns, record our feelings, how we're feeling at random times or certain regular times, and then see how our feelings are evolving. So I think I would go broader than just health consciousness. Our total consciousness is that we should feel blissful, and check your bliss every time. And again, you can at some level you can have blissful without connected to any particular outside external thing, but you can also reinforce that feeling of happiness and bliss by bringing data, but more trustworthy data about things related to you. I don't think that external data by itself is the solution to your developing human consciousness. Human consciousness is that the fact is that everything is available within us. It's just we are ignorant of that presence. So becoming aware of that capability and the information, knowledge, and wisdom within us is the first thing. So it's a different kind of data, more subjective data, but objective version of it, as I said, record your feelings and expression, diary keeping, and that we will see over a period of time. You'll get more and more creative in terms of what you express, and that will be beautiful output of its own.
Great. So we have one more, and this is from, one second, Vinod Kumar Yadav. Do you observe that virtual education has the capability to take over the traditional education altogether?
Virtual education will take over the
The traditional education altogether.
Okay. So no, I don't think anything will take over anything, because there's a whole spectrum. It makes a whole spectrum more lively instead of having just one choice of classroom and blackboard and specific times. They'll have the option of virtual education. It is disrupting the market, but so universities are being disrupted. Universities are being asked to justify. You remember? Let me step back for a moment. What is the current model of university? By the whole this university model, what we see right now has come from Harvard University or US in particular, but Harvard in particular, I would say. And it started in 1600 something. And then the latest version of this university education came about, let's say, 1860s by Charles Eliot, who was the president of the university at that time. And just like now, it was a time of great churn, great change, and people wanted choice in the courses, right? At that point, the university's curriculum was fixed, and students wanted choice. So what Dr. Eliot did was at Harvard, he instituted this idea of electives. He created a semester system. In semester system, then people had to, every semester, then this idea of courses, designated courses came about. And then, you took courses, some were mandatory courses, some were elective courses. The whole idea, elective and all these things came from there. And this system has become like the standard. We've forgotten how it came. That was at that time. Today, university, the Clayton Christensen has written about disruption in universities. He says universities do three things: imparting knowledge, evaluating and certifying, and creating the social networks, right? The teaching online can go over some of that element of imparting knowledge. In fact, we don't have to have universities for that. Coursera is doing it. Khan Academy is doing it. You can create on your own. Second is the certifying mechanism. The companies who are learning to become good at certifying, you can go to their certifying centers or take exam, and they're great. And then socializing, you can have in many places. You can have many places people can gather and become buddies. University was one place where you develop networks of friends and you learned with them, etc. And then the universities had the credibility based on certifying and based on the, as the reputation grew, you became more selective. This I am Ahmedabad, what is the selection ratio there? 0.27%. So my dear friend from IIT and I am Ashish Nanda, Dr. Ashish Nanda, he was at Harvard and he's still at Harvard. And he came back to become director of IIM Ahmedabad for 4 years, I think 2013 to 2017, some of you may know. And then at Harvard, he was saying, "Oh, why are you going to this school? What kind of school is this?" And he said, "Well, Harvard prides itself on selectivity of 7%." He said, "You know, the selectivity at our school is 0.27%." So the universities become good at doing certain things and become so selective. But that's not necessarily the only way universities will survive. Universities will have to focus on something or other because there'll be room for best in the world, right? Second best, third best. Who wants to go second best, third best in the world? If there's Amazon, who wants to get the second, the second or third place? If when there's Facebook, who wants to go second or third place to meet friends and all that stuff? So I don't think it'll take over. It'll be just expand the repertoire.
Great. So I think
some
we have
questions around data science. Yeah, go ahead.
one more. How data science can play an important role in COVID-19 pandemic?
Oh yeah. So I just finished teaching some courses, and I'm teaching again a course on data analytics, business intelligence, data mining, and I asked all my students to look for COVID-related projects, group projects, and one of them stuck with the project, others moved to other related projects, but one of them said, "What is causing, for example, the death pattern in this?" Right? They're saying comorbidities are there, and then some of these people are saying this minority people like blacks and Hispanics and sort of non-white people who are having greater deaths because of one thing or the other. So they looked at these two questions and they gathered all the data from all the 50 states of the United States, as much as was available in the media and through Center for Disease Control, which is like government organization, CDC, and the NIH, National Institute of Health. And they found two interesting things. There was really no basis in fact for any proving that white versus non-white were dying at different rates. That was amazing. New York had this the biggest thing. A lot of people are dying up there, but there were a lot of whites dying also. And there's a proportionality. That was one big thing. And second thing is, with the data, they sorted what was the big comorbidity with for complications with COVID. Everybody thought it is a disease of the lung, isn't it? The lung gets fibrosis and then it gets wasted and then you die. You can't breathe. Well, they found asthma is not the biggest comorbidity that causes death. The biggest comorbidity is not even obesity, not even diabetes, which were the ones mentioned. The biggest one is plain old simple hypertension. Data helped resolve this question, right? That hypertension, and that they found that it's 1.7 times more likely to be hospitalized with COVID if you had hypertension, and 2.5 times more likely to be in the ICU if you had hypertension than if you didn't have hypertension and just had COVID. And it was far ahead of asthma, diabetes, and other things. So this is just one practical example I'm sharing, and people are saying, "Why did you publish this?" Well, it will take a long time to publish this kind of result, but this is a kind of data-based solution that can, demystify reality. Otherwise, the other model of decision making I call HIPPO model. What is HIPPO model? Highest paid person's opinion. Right? You go into a meeting, there are 10 people, right? Who is the loudest or the most powerful or boss, his opinion or her opinion matters. But if you have data, then everybody, bows to the data. So data says this. We did a survey of 200 people. That's what people are saying. Otherwise, whoever shouts loudest or who's the most paid person. So I think data helps resolve a lot of questions. Okay.
Great. So we have one more. How to increase adaptability of digital platforms in education system?
How to increase adaptability of changing them digital systems. I would say companies like Mcgraw-Hill and Pearson and others, publishers are very, very cognizant. They are very adaptive. How would we adapt? I mean, give feedback, give them suggestions. You'll be surprised how much they listen to you. In fact, sometimes they'll send you some token appreciation, some gift or something for your ideas. So if you want to change it, work with the providers, and they will make. They would obviously they want to make the system better so they can make money, but they would your input can get in there. I'm not sure I have any more detailed answer to that, but a good question.
Great. So I
Right,
think
Dr.
we are coming towards an end. So if you want to address them and take this forward.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So you said I see that Gunjan Mishra said that U.S. Has failed to the anyway. The point being that the teacher role is will replaced. No, nothing is being replaced by digital. The teaching element. Okay, let me end with this thing idea of earlier we used to be called gurus. What was a guru? Guru had four roles. One was the role of teaching, like teachers we do. Second was the guru was a researcher. Gurus like our rishis cognized the whole thing. The rishis were also the administrator, right? They ran the whole ashram. And fourth, they were the mentor. They actually went to the guru to ask questions, should I do this or not? So, well, over a period of time, it's got stratified. So, guru became into researchers separate from teachers and mentors and administrators. I think this will provide us ability to just interconnect everything, come together and be a whole guru again. And digital avatars and digital things will help us scale. We can a lot of wisdom into a digital avatar, then we can scale up and help many more people. But digital is definitely a trend, and just embrace the trend. But as I said, first of all, be the sun. Be the sun. Sun is the whole source of energy, and then that's the main thing. Be the sun. Be the dreamer. Be creative. Be yourself. In digital or analog, in person, or as a teacher, a student, whatever. Dream big, and that's what Kalam Saab said. Have the heart kindled so you can do anything. That's the future of education. That's the technology of sun, technology of digital, technology of ideas, technology of consciousness for making education better, life better, and may you have a very, very blissful life. Thank you very much.